So if you're looking at different ways to, boost a town's prosperity, you've probably noticed something. The big challenge isn't usually a lack of local talent or resources. It's the governance, right? It's the structure needed to unite them.
That is exactly the heart of the problem. And the sources you sent over, they detailed this framework designed specifically for that friction point. It's called the TownRally Cooperative.
The TownRally Cooperative.
Yeah, it's an attempt to take all that existing community energy and turn it into a measurable, self-sustaining economic engine.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to get into this joint venture framework. It's basically a blueprint to strengthen local economies. It does this through what? Shared event marketing partnerships.
Right, and it's all anchored by something that's already there, that already has visibility. Local professional basketball.
That's a really interesting anchor point.
It is. And what's critical here is the history of this idea. The documents, they specifically talk about this being a modern co-op model, but it's inspired by things that have worked for centuries.
Like old farming co-ops, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Farming co-ops, village co-ops, but just applied to the modern, hyper-local economy. So we're going to unpack the whole thing, the challenge, the solution they've architected, and the very specific roles needed to pull it off.
Okay, let's unpack this, and maybe let's start with that core problem. For anyone listening, we don't need to go over economic leakage again, but let's talk about why the old solutions don't always work.
Well, the sources argue it's more than just leakage. It's a systemic disadvantage. Every town has this huge potential, but the value is constantly being pulled away.
Siphoned off.
Siphoned off is the perfect term. You have national brands, huge online platforms, and they just dominate. They pull dollars right out of local circulation. Local voices get drowned out, and the small local businesses are left trying to compete in a system that's just not built for them.
A failure of alignment, really. The local dollars end up serving these huge global platforms.
Precisely. And the philosophical argument the sources make against this is, well, it's pretty profound. It leans on that old proverb, it takes a village to raise a child.
A classic.
A classic, but they add this twist. They stress that, okay, yes, the village raises the child, but the people in the village are just as crucial for raising and sustaining the village itself.
So it's a two-way street? Reciprocity.
It's total reciprocity. And they say modern towns are just today's villages. That circular flow of value is what's broken. And it's what this cooperative is designed to, institutionalize.
So the vision isn't about waiting for some big company to move in or some top-down government program. The power is already inside the town.
Yes. The model is all about reclaiming that internal value. They have this little mantra for it. Shared influence, shared resources, shared success.
I like that. And to achieve that, they're really specific about what this TownRally thing is and what it isn't.
Oh, they're meticulous about it. It is not a franchise that sends fees up a chain. It is absolutely, emphatically not a charity. And it's not a city program.
So what is it?
It's defined as a cooperative network, a town-by-town economic engine. And for the people who get involved long-term, it's a legacy platform, something designed to outlive them.
That distinction is so important. It's not like, say, a business improvement district, a BE, which can sometimes feel a bit top-down or, punitive with mandatory fees.
Exactly. Those often rely on taxes. This is different. This is an opt-in, revenue-generating machine that's built on assets the community already loves. That's key for getting people on board.
Okay, so the philosophy is clear. Let's get into the nuts and bolts. If it's not a tax, not a charity, what's the actual mechanism? How does it create that momentum on the ground?
The engine is a cooperative-powered event marketing platform. The whole idea is that events' shared experiences are way more than just fun. They're economic multipliers.
Multipliers, how so?
Well, they're designed to drive a whole bunch of foot traffic all at once, to change spending habits and just to, get people connecting again, reignite that social cohesion.
So it bypasses the slow grind of government work, or the limited reach of one single business trying to do something on its own.
Right. And it does this by uniting what the sources call the activation triangle.
The activation triangle. Okay, what are the 3 points?
This is really the clever part of the model. It brings together 3 groups that are usually in their own separate corners. First, you have local business leaders. They bring the capital, the marketing know-how.
Okay.
Second is the community energy. That's the residents, the civic leaders. They bring the trust, the participation. And third, you have the anchor, the excitement of local professional basketball. That's the driver, the emotional hook.
I have to stop you there because that's a big bet. Relying on a sports team as your anchor, What happens if the team has a bad season? Or, worst case, what if it relocates? Isn't that a huge risk for a long-term economic plan?
That's a fantastic question, and it's the core tension, really. The sources do anticipate it. The way they frame it is the team is the catalyst. It's not the primary source of revenue.
It's the spark.
It's the spark. The cooperative is designed to capture the economic spillover around that emotional anchor. So sure, when the team's winning, momentum is easy. But when things get volatile, it's the relationships between the other two sides of the triangle, the businesses and the community leaders, that keep it going. The goal is to turn that initial excitement into lasting economic habits.
Okay, that makes sense. So the team draws the crowd, but the cooperative structure is what actually captures and redirects the value locally.
Yeah.
So what are the specific measurable benefits we should see from this?
It's multi-layered. On the surface, of course, it drives people back into local shops, restaurants, all those unique local spots. But below that, it strengthens the intangibles.
The culture, the town's identity.
Exactly. Social cohesion, things that are really hard to put a number on, but are absolutely essential for the long-term health of a town.
And the sources also mention benefits to physical assets, right? Infrastructure, community vitality. But the detail that really jumped out at me was about personal wealth.
Oh, absolutely. The model is aimed squarely at increasing long-term home equity appreciation. And that is such a crucial detail
Why is that so powerful?
because it gives every single resident a direct, personal, long-term incentive to get involved. For most families, their home is the biggest investment they will ever make. If this cooperative helps that grow, they have a real stake in its success.
And it does all this without raising taxes or replacing city programs. It's an add-on, a market-driven solution.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. The sources call this community economics in action, and it's driven by local heroes, local stories, local momentum, which brings us to the people, the founding partners.
Okay, so the platform needs a core group to get it started, and there are two different ways they can participate, right? Two distinct paths.
Yes, two paths based on their expertise and really how they want to lead. This separation is key to making it all work.
Let's start with path one, the community leaders. Who are they?
These are the cultural architects. Think civic leaders, nonprofit organizers, educators, coaches, the longtime residents that everyone trusts.
Their role isn't really about the money then.
Not directly.
Right.
Their role is fundamentally non-commercial, but it's completely essential. They're the ones who champion participation, who guide the storytelling around the events to make sure it feels authentic. They're the public face of unity.
So they provide the trust, the access,
Yeah.
the things you just can't buy.
Precisely. And their legacy, as the sources put it, isn't defined by what they controlled financially. It's defined by what they helped bring together. It's a return measured in social capital. If the co-op is a body, they're its moral compass.
Okay, so if path one is the soul, path two has to be the engine. Tell me about the business and entrepreneurial partners.
Right. Path 2 is for the operators, the business owners, investors, marketers, the entrepreneurs who are looking for a scalable model that gives them a real return and a civic impact.
And their role is much more hands-on operationally.
Very hands-on. They co-own and co-build the actual platform. They design the revenue models, use their expertise to scale the events, and they drive the execution.
What are the benefits for them?
It's tied to performance. They get an equity position in the operation. They get recurring revenue from sponsorships, events, and so on. And critically, they get a first mover advantage in a model that's designed to be replicated across the country.
They're building the economic engine.
They are building and running the economic engine of the town, yes.
But hold on. How do you keep those two groups aligned? You have business leaders who are, naturally focused on returns, and community leaders with a much longer-term cultural view. How do the sources say you keep them working together?
That's where that cooperative over-extractive value gets codified in the structure. The framework suggests a balanced governance model. So, for example, the community leaders might hold a special class of shares focused on mission alignment, while the JV partners hold the operating equity. They both get a voice, but their definitions of success are met in different ways. It forces them to work toward that single goal, a stronger town.
That structural detail is what makes it more than just a simple partnership, which is a perfect transition to the bigger framework and how this whole thing could scale. What do the revenue streams actually look like?
So the venture is designed to be robust financially. It uses several different streams. We're talking about things like high-level event sponsorships, vendor participation fees, partnerships with local businesses, ticketed experiences.
Okay, pretty standard stuff.
Standard stuff, but also media and content collaborations, and this is the key for scaling. Replication fees. When the model expands to a new town, a portion of that comes back to support the network.
And the ownership reflects those two paths we talked about.
It does. Founding partners get equity or profit participation based on their role and their contribution. And this is important. They get preferred status if there's an opportunity to expand into other towns in their region.
And how's it governed locally? You don't want it to get political.
No. And that's vital. It uses a locally governed chapter model. The local leaders and stakeholders form their own cooperative chapter. They make the decisions for their town autonomously. The city's role is specifically advisory, collaborative. It is not operational.
That keeps it nimble and out of city hall politics.
It insulates it. And that local autonomy is what makes the multi-town network possible. Each town operates on its own, but they all benefit from being part of the larger network.
How so? What's the benefit?
They share everything. Playbooks, operational documents, regional partnership deals. It dramatically lowers the friction for the next town that wants to launch. You're not starting from scratch. You create these regional economic ecosystems without any central control.
Let's tie this back to the core values. You mentioned transparency, and the documents talk about a legacy clause. That sounds like more than just a tagline.
It is. It's the mission statement baked right into the legal structure. The legacy flows basically says this venture exists for one reason: to leave towns stronger than they were before, economically, culturally, socially.
So it's designed to resist the temptation to just sell out for a profit down the line.
Exactly. It defines the endpoint not as maximum shareholder return, but as maximum civic return.
So what does this all mean? For someone listening who's analyzing these next-gen economic structures, what's the big takeaway?
The big takeaway is that TownRally is a structure designed to be a multiplier. A multiplier for the people, the businesses, and the assets that are already in place. It tackles that fundamental problem of leakage by creating a mechanism for unified cooperative action. And it uses a cultural anchor to generate that first big push of energy.
As you think about how a model like this could work in your own community, let's leave you with a final thought to mull over. The sources make this very strategic bet on a sports team as the anchor. If this whole model relies on unifying cultural assets, how can the TownRally structure be designed to proactively cultivate new community anchors over time, maybe less volatile ones beyond the sports team, to ensure that economic engine keeps running on its own for generations?
That's the long-term challenge, isn't it? Turning that initial spark of excitement into enduring, diversified structural strength. That really requires foresight to be built into the cooperative's investment strategy from day one.
An excellent thought to end on. Thank you for diving into these sources with us today.